At least it's Friday. I know I'm posting my video late in the day. I'll get into why in a bit. I'm going to give you my official forecast on next week's rate announcement. I'm going to talk about the fallout from this whipsaw of tariffs on, tariffs off, and how Canada is going about this in an intelligent way, unlike the Americans. Let me start with the rate announcement next week because everyone is on edge waiting to see what's going to happen. RBC's forward guidance was talking about it. They call it a tough call. Yeah, some people are quite certain there's going to be a rate cut next week. I'm not one of them. I think it's going to be a hold. Now, let me be clear. I think there's going to be big rate cuts this year, just not next week. The Fed has an announcement coming up, and I think they're going to cut. If they cut, the value of the U.S. dollar is going to go down. The value of the Canadian dollar is going to go up a little bit. I don't think we need to make a cut. Also, we can't be like the Americans on this, right? We can't just make the decision and then change our mind the next day and then change it back the day after and then change it back again the day after that. No, we got to make a decision and stick to it. So I believe the Bank of Canada is going to be cautious and they're going to hold. Hold and see what's happening. Now, let's face it. These on-again, off-again tariffs are causing havoc in all markets. This was the news a couple days ago. London area home sales plunge as tariffs add to buyer uncertainty. Oh, there's a lot of buyer uncertainty. It brings me to why this video is late. I've been super busy lately. Our office is busy. Not everyone is. And this uncertainty is a common thread. I've got one client that is looking to sell, but maybe not. Should I, shouldn't I? What's going to happen? The tariffs are on, they're gone. But we're going to proceed like the listing will occur, but it's going to be a last-minute call. The client called today. He works as an engineer, and in their facility, it's 1 minute they're doing this, the next minute they're doing that, the next minute they're preparing for a shipment, the next minute they're not. It's changing daily. Algoma Steel pauses shipments to U.S. as tariffs force companies to rethink how they do business. Yeah. Companies can't wait. They just have to assume the worst. Now, the other day, Trump said that Honda was building a new facility in Indiana. They're not. Honda had to put together a press release to confirm that no, they're not building a facility in Indiana. However, there are reports, unconfirmed so far, that the Civic Hybrid will be built in Indiana next to the CR-V. New Civic production pushed to May of 2028 from November of 2027. So you see the problem there, right? So Honda wants to make this car. They're hoping that it gets out into the market around November of 2027, but now there's going to be a 6-month delay because they've got to change the plans on where this car is going to get built. Trump tells the big three to start moving production to the U.S. It's not that simple. We're talking about billions of dollars, and moving to the U.S., if you don't have a facility in place, it's just a non-starter. It's just not going to happen. Now, I've had my fair share of complaints that we still have tariffs in place, even though the United States does not have tariffs in place. It's come on, folks. Give it a day. We don't know what's happening one day to the next either. We're not going to be like the Americans, where we have it one way one day and another way the next day, and then back and then forth. No, we have to be more intelligent about this. Also, we need to be more selective, right? The United States is just putting blanket tariffs on everything. They're pissing all over the USMCA. They don't care. We don't want to do that. We don't want to make the same mistake the Americans are making because they're in breach of contract. They owe us money. So these are the exports from Canada to the United States. 38% are covered under the USMCA. 57.1% are not under the USMCA but could be. And then 6% is not under the USMCA at all. So what Canada is doing is we're focusing on these last two categories so we don't breach the contract. That's why we're pulling booze off of store shelves. Because by pulling the booze off the shelf, we're not breaching the agreement. Kentucky bourbon is an example. It's in the USMCA. There's guidelines on pricing and so on and so forth, but there's nothing in the USMCA that says we have to sell it. So we can just remove it from the shelves and stick it in the warehouse and not be in breach of contract. But Donald Trump doesn't know what a contract is, which is not a surprise. He doesn't know what a tariff is. He doesn't know what a trade surplus is. Par for the course. And as of right now, the 25% surcharge on electricity going to the United States, that's still in place. I'll dumb this down for the Americans. I know you have trouble with this kind of stuff. So what we're doing is we're putting an extra surcharge on the electricity that we send you. And that extra surcharge will be passed along to the end user, which is you. And Trump can get upset about the U.S. dairy tariffs and lumber tariffs, but that's not changing. We don't want that shit. Yeah, the dairy tariffs are in place so that you guys don't dump your milk in Canada. We don't want it. We're going to protect our farmers. Maybe you guys should worry about protecting yours. Anyway, 1 month reprieve, but the chaos is far from over. Will it ever end? Not as long as he's in charge.